my DIYers that want to know how to write with your Cricut 3 envelopes at one time, I am here to give you a tutorial. Full disclosure right off the bat, this does take a lot of time to do. If you're like me and want the satisfaction of a handwritten envelope, this is your way to do it. Now, obviously, the first thing you need to do is buy your envelopes. I personally went with these shimmery metallic ones. I got them off Amazon. If you guys like the same look, make sure you check out my Amazon storefront for them. Now, what we need to do in Design Space is know our measurements of our envelope. For mine, I have a 5 1/4 by 7 1/4, so I'm just keeping that measurement in mind. If you are also looking to do return addresses on the back flap, make sure you take measurements on that as well. Now, jumping over to my desktop here, I have Design Space open with a blank canvas. On the left toolbar, I am selecting the Shapes tab, and I am going to be selecting a square. Personally, I like to change the color to the exact one that I have for my envelope, just so I can visualize this a lot better. Now, again, looking at our top toolbar, I am hitting the unlock button on our sizing so that I can change this out of a square to a rectangle. Then I am just going ahead and entering in my dimensions for this. Perfect, so now we have the front of our envelopes. Now we want to go ahead and select another square to bring into here. And once again, I am OCD, so I am going to be matching the color and I am going to be changing the dimensions to the exact one of my flap. So pretty much repeating the same steps as we did before. Then I'm going ahead and I'm clicking and dragging so they're kind of touching at the top and bottom there. Now again, tapping into my OCD here, I am just centering this horizontally so they are perfectly aligned right down the middle. So right now I need you to visualize that this is an envelope that is completely open with the tab also face flat down. Now I'm going to go ahead and bring in some text here. The font I went with for the names is Amalfi Coast. This is something I downloaded off dafont.com. It does not come with Design Space. Now wherever you have all of your guest information, make sure you have that open with you because you're going to be doing some copying pasting here. We sent everyone a link to our postable address book and we are able to collect everyone's addresses through here. For privacy purposes though, I'm going to be going with this fake one. As you guys know, Mr. P. Sherman, 42 Wallaby Way, Sydney. Now once I copy and pasted the name from there, I am just sizing it down to kind of get a gist of what I want my invites to look like. Think of this first one as your template. You are going to be setting a guide for the rest of them so you won't have to keep creating this over and over again. Now once you're happy with the sizing of this, we're going to go ahead and copy paste this because we just want it to be around the same size as our first text. Now if you want to make this easier on yourself, you can always do the same font and then you would just copy and paste your whole address in at one time, but I made it complicated on myself and I decided to go with a different font for the second, which would be the full address. Now go ahead and play again with the sizing on this. Again, this is going to be a template, so make sure you do like how this looks. The next thing I'm going to have you do is select the main rectangle, the name, and the address. You can hold down shift and click all three and you will be good to go. Once you see all three are selected, go up to the top and hit align, and we are going to center align these again. And then these should be perfectly aligned right down the middle. Now, full transparency here, I don't like these centered vertically because I try to factor in the little postage stamp at the top and I like to bring it down a few notches. Now let's go ahead and move on to our return address. I am going to be doing the same exact fonts I just used on the front, so I am going to select both these fonts and I'm going to group them together. Grouping things like this always makes things a lot easier because then when you go to select it and move, they go together, and also it's a lot less messier on the right hand side where all your layers are. Now with that group selected, we are going to copy and paste this. If you don't know the shortcut keys for that, it is Command C and then Command V. Then really quickly here, I am just going to put in a return address. Remember, this is not going to be changed ever again, so once you have it in there, you're good to go for all the rest of them. And then again, I come up to the top toolbar and select my alignment and make sure all my text is centered horizontally. Now with my top text group selected, I am using that little toggle in the top right as you saw me do to turn this 90 degrees. And now I want to bring it over to the top rectangle so I can put my return address on our back flap. You're trying to picture this envelope as completely open, so remember this is currently upside down right now. Now when I go to click and drag over everything, I am just selecting all that is on my canvas. Then I want to right click and hit attach to just ensure that nothing on my envelope is going to move on me when I go to hit make. And honestly guys, setting up your envelope is the hardest part. All you have to do is duplicate this 2 times and then go ahead and change the addresses and the names for the other 2 envelopes. For time's sake, I am just speeding this along. And remember to just copy and paste from wherever you have your addresses stored. For this demonstration though, I am just typing in some random ones. Now once you click make, you should see this screen. Chances are the default mat it's going to have it under is 12 by 12, and I am just going to be switching this to 12 by 24. Having one of these size mats is honestly very helpful. It helped with a lot of my larger signage and with doing these envelopes. Then go ahead and place your envelopes as you like. I personally like to line it up with a number line just so I know that it's pretty accurate. And honestly, I try not to mess with the safety guides on the left, so I usually give it one little square over. So that's why you see me doing a little buffer there. And then before you set this to go through your Cricut, make sure you're laying down your envelopes exactly how you modeled it on your screen. Now, something that I should have noted earlier is make sure that your squares are on the cut setting because we are doing a fake cut when it comes to this. So we are removing the blade out of our Cricut. So honestly, your Cricut is going to go through a false cut after it does its writing function. And yes, unfortunately, we have to keep the squares there. It is the only way to keep the placement of the envelope envelopes accurate. And then you should be good to go to send this through your Cricut to do its thing. And now for your own sanity, please walk away from your Cricut and give your eyes a break. You are going to lose your mind if you stand there and hover over this. Go do a load of laundry or have a snack and then come back and do another set of 3. But once your template is set on Design Space, all you have to do is change out the names and addresses, and again, do the copy paste from wherever you collected your addresses from. I promise the more you do, the quicker you will get. And that's all I got for you guys for this tutorial. Make sure you're following along for more DIY money saving tips and tricks.